All right, Shabbat Shalom. Oh, I'm sorry. Shalom, family. I'm used to doing the Shabbat Shalom. Shalom, family. This is Wesley Smith at HouseofRest, where we're in a good season and time to be alive, alive, alive. And I just welcome you all to part five of Returning to Yah. And so in that process of returning to Yah, guys, there are things that are set before us, right? There are options. And this is what I love about Yah, right? This is how merciful he was. Think about this, guys. So when they were in Egypt in bondage, it was because Yah heard their cry, right? They wasn't actually per se crying to Yah, but it was the fact that he remembered the covenant that he made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? He remembered the covenant that he made with them, and he heard their cry. Their cries went up to heaven, and he moved on their behalf. That's how merciful he is. That's how awesome our Elohim is to the fact that even when we have gone astray and been gone astray for a long while, that remember he said he'll go and get the one, right? Leave the 99 and go and get the one. And he will go and get the one that went astray to help get you back on that path. Now, remember, there are a lot of choices that has to be made in this walk. And as we get into the study today, we'll see that he placed a choice before them, right? He placed a choice before them and told them that this day I place before you good life and good, and evil and death, right? And so there's choices that has to be made. We have to when we're doing this walk, we have to realize that every choice that we make, well, depending on where you're at and what you're doing, it might be the last choice that you make. So every choice that you make, you might want to do the right thing, right? And I can remember times before, back in my past, when, say forever, whenever I would go and at time me and Tameka wasn't married, I would go out and I would mess with other women. Well, in the back of my mind, I would be saying, this isn't right. I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't. And at one point in time, it got to the point where I couldn't enjoy it because I felt like I was being watched. I felt like I was being seen. And so we have that attitude, that type of attitude, when we are children of Yah, like, whenever, because don't get me wrong, guys, I'm not holier than thou to the point where I can say that I have not, fallen or slipped in this walk. And this is what's awesome. Yah said that he's married to the backslider. So at times you're gonna have slips, you're gonna have trips. When this begin to happen, that's where you need to, I need to figure out. But it's the point when people come to and get to apostasy where they completely fall away, know the truth, but choose not to walk in it. This is that right there is violation, right? Because that you're totally trespassing. But when we know, right, that oh man, I'm messing up here, and it bothers you to disappoint Yah. It bothers you to disappoint Yah, but this is what makes him so merciful. Because when you go and you cry out to him, when you go and seek him, this is what David did, right? Psalm 51. He recognized that in his error with Bathsheba and killing Uriah, and he made choices that day, didn't he? He made a choice a couple of times throughout that period. I'm pretty sure more than just one day where he, summoned Uriah and tried to get him to sleep with her so it could make it look like that he got her pregnant, right? But throughout his choices, it led to some effect. So every choice that you make, there's some kind of consequence that come behind it. Now, the consequence can be some form of evil, or it could be some form of good, right? Depending on what you did. And so in this life, there are going to be choices that we constantly have to make, and all of our choices that are placed before us are going to be good or it's going to be evil, right? Yahusha said, "The straight and narrow path, only few find it, but the broad path, many find." Right, so there's a choice made right there. So he said, "The straight and narrow path is troublesome." Right, that's what if you look up that word narrow in Hebrew, it means troublesome. It means that along the way there's going to be trouble. It's not going to be easy. And that's why he said there's few that find it, because most people want to live a comfortable life. Most people want to enjoy, what this life has to offer, not realizing that there's life that comes after. And so many people are supplying and storing and preparing for this, but how many people has their hearts prepared to meet the King, right? How many people has come to the truth and the knowledge that in this life, right? It's kind of like that movie, and I'm gonna play a clip for y'all from that movie, The Matrix, right? Even though we know that Hollywood fudged up a lot of what was being said, there was a form of truth with the blue pill and the red pill, because on one end is the way. It's the way, the truth, and the life, which is Yahushua Mashiach. And the other one is that portion of what I was talking about yesterday, where you walk around in the haze, and you know that there's something not right, but you just continue to live in that fairy tale land or that dreamland, and just allow days to go by and just time to go by, and before you know it, you're 40 or 50. You're wondering what happened to life. You're wondering what happened with the choices you made. And don't get me wrong, some of us have had a wonderful life where we got all the stuff that we need. We got the house, we got the cars, we got clothes, we got the family, we got the businesses, we got all that stuff. But in the back of your mind, deep down in there, you keep saying there's something still that's missing. And that which is missing is the acknowledgement, the truth that is Yahushua Mashiach, that he came and that he died for you, that he went to the cross for you, that his blood paid a debt for you, that you may be able to live, right? That you may be able to walk this earth and make the choices. And this is what I love about Yah. Free will was given to the children of Yasharel. Even though he gives commandments, right? That's where you hear these ifs coming in during the covenant. If you do this, if you do that, right? Because there's a choice that is there, and yet all of Yasharel did not fully walk with him. But this is what I loved about Yah. Whenever there would be some loss, he will always recover someone else to that place, right? And so it's the same way with us. Whenever we choose to continue to walk down that path, and we die in our sins, well, he'll replace us, and not replace us, but he recovers that gap. Because remember, from the foundation of the world, right, there has been a allotted chosen few, right? So we have to make up our mind. We have to choose what we're going to do. And we're going to look at a couple scenarios in scripture as we discuss it. But first, I want to play this little snippet from The Matrix and let you see what was being placed before Neo, what was being placed before him. But now we have to look at it like this, because like I said, it's Hollywood, of course, so they souped up a lot of stuff, but a lot of stuff that you're about to hear that he says, when I actually looked at the movie again, I was just like, this dude. I mean, they actually just really broke down a portion of the way that I felt right before I came to the knowledge of the truth of Yahushua Mashiach. And this was even when I was in church, I felt like this. And I would say to myself, something ain't right. There's something missing. There's something missing. And I continued to pray and I continued to seek Yah, and he continued to open my eyes more and more. Do you realize that during this walk, your eyes don't ever stop coming over? He constantly keeps opening your eyes to something new in his creation, new in this walk, new in what it is that we should be doing. So let's look at this little excerpt real quick, and then let's see. Boom. All right. Make sure everybody can hear it. Put the little speaker up. All right. Let's see
what it is. The matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room, you can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Do you want to know what it is?
All right. So y'all saw where he was saying, you know, that he would talk about the truth. He was talking about even like the eyes coming open, being prisoner to the mind and things like that. And honestly, man, when I was watching that, I was thinking to myself, I was like, wow, some of this is spot on with the way that I felt before I came to the truth. And guys, I'm not sitting up here, saying that I believe in what Hollywood is saying, but I do think that in some degree that because it even said this is how you feel when you're at church, when you pay your taxes. I mean, he was naming quite a few things there that we actually encounter, and so it's very uncanny that in that movie, and that it was a while ago when I saw it. So I was thinking about that the other day as I was reading over this, and I said, you know what, let me watch it again and see what the deal is. And as you watch the whole movie and his eyes start coming open more and more, he start realizing the truth of the lies, and the kind of like with us when, oh my goodness, Christmas ain't, this is something that is pagan, Easter, oh my goodness, this is, they painted, they really sacrifice babies and use their blood to paint the eggs. This is where that tradition comes from. And see, they don't watered it down to try to make it seem, but they watered it down so that they could do what? Get everybody in agreement. And see, they got everybody in covenant with them. And y'all said, I don't want you in that mess. I don't want you walking according to that. I want you to walk according to the truth, right? That's why Yahushua said, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life, I am the light, I am the bread of life, right? I am that I am. Ahai, Ashar, Ahaya, right? I am he that be, right? I will be who I be. And so when we look at these choices that are placed before us, are we going to choose to live in the B system? Or are we going to choose to walk in his way and go according to the way that he guides us? And one scripture I remember, he said, come out from amongst them and be ye separate, right? And what was he saying? You have to let go of those old traditions. You have to let go of those old ways that are, similar to idolatry and just things that it really I ain't gonna say waters down the word of Yah, but it pollutes it, right? And so this is what we see all throughout history, is they've been trying to pollute his word so that the truth, the full dead on truth is not being displayed. And so it's hard to come across brothers and sisters that are preaching the dead on truth, that is willing to admit their faults in the middle of whether they got something wrong when they were teaching, or whether it was something that they did throughout the week, and just confess it, right? But I love confessing my faults before my brothers and sisters, because that gives them room, that gives room for me to say that I'm in the wrong, I'm error, because the more and more you just allow it to slip away, you don't have nobody to confess it to. Now we confess it to our Father, but we want our brothers and sisters praying for us, right? We need that strength for one another. And so, guys, I look and I see so many that are still, that the wood, in other words, is still over their eyes. They think that they think that they have it right. Everybody walks around, like they know it, and I be saying to Tameka, well, if this person think that they have it together, and then I'm sitting up here and I'm doing these messages and I think I have it together, then how do we separate the two? And I'm talking about other people that is preaching the gospel, and they preaching it in confidence like they just got it all right. But you know what, guys? It brings fear to me to do this, because I don't want to be in error when I'm doing this, because this I don't hold lightly. And so when I make a choice to come and do this, I make a choice to do it with with submission to him, right? Not to esteem myself, not to esteem Tameka, not to esteem Lee or Sean, none of us to be esteemed and puffed up on here, right? No, and not even to esteem any of you. I mean, and what I mean by that is to puff any of us up to make us think that we are more than what we are, right? This is why I chose, hey, I would rather share, and not because I want other people to be, but it's like, y'all never, he told me that this is what was an open platform for anybody that can minister a word, or anybody that had encouraging words, or anybody that can, give a dream, or whatever it is to help edify the body. Bring them on. And so this is something that me and Tameka discussed years ago. And now I slowly see Yah moving. And that's the reason why I know we're moving in the right direction. Right. And listen, I'd rather take my time and do it slow and hear where he's guiding us, versus trying to rush and do it fast. versus trying to rush and do it fast. Something that I paid attention to on that, where he chose the red or the blue pill, is soon as he told him he could choose that red pill or the blue pill, he was ready to pull that red pill, right? And he stopped him and said, "Hey, listen, all I'm trying to do is tell you the truth." And so I see that as, you know, he was ready to have the truth revealed to him. But guess what, guys? There's a lot of people in this world that would rather believe a lie than receive the truth. And it's because to them, the lie is easier to accept than the truth. And that's hence why you see so many people rioting and burning stuff down and just causing all types of ruckus and walking around with masks on. Oh, they gave us now, oh, we got on the mask, they can't see who it is, let's destroy things, right? And that's a choice, to cause destruction and chaos, or to choose to do peaceful things, right? So I mean, it just destroys everything that Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, different ones, in the civil rights movement. And I can't think of a lot of other people's names at the moment, but a lot of other people in the civil rights movement, where they were trying to, well, not, I take Malcolm X out of it, the ones that were trying to do peaceful protests, Rosa Parks, different ones, it just destroys what was being done to bring a unity, right, to the nation. And they know that the best way to destroy America is from within, to cause destruction from one another, right? And remember, that's whatever, whenever the truth was being presented to Yahusha, what did the Pharisees come to do? They always came to say, "Oh, who is this man?" And so what it would do is, it wasn't Yahusha that was causing division, it was the truth that was being displayed that was causing division, because you always had those that were there to speak against it, right? To try to come against him, to try to make him look like, oh, he's not a learned man. How does he know this? Who gives him the authority to speak this? And so it would cause division amongst the Jews. That's what the scriptures say. So let's look, because even when we go into this scripture, we see, watch this. He says, "See, I have set before you this day life and good." See, this is Yah, life and good. This is Yah all the way. He has set life and good before us, for us to live in him, right? For us to be able to dwell with him, in him, of him, right? To walk in his ways, which is good, which is not to be mistaken for our own form of good, right? Because we can have our own term of righteousness, what we think is right in our own eyes, right? Like, we watching the show, and her form of justice was to take stuff away from people. And in other words, she was stealing something from the person, but and she would leave a note and say, "Hey, look, you can get this back if you do this, but apologize or treat people with a better attitude, or something like that." And even if she would go to a store and the manager was rude or something, then she would steal a pair of pants and leave a note there. And well, eventually they wouldn't get the pants back because she would gift them to somebody. But that was her form of justice. And so we can't have our own form of justice, our own form of righteousness, right? So our righteousness had to be according to the standards of Yah's righteousness. But look at here. I see, I have set before you this day life and good, death and evil. In that I command you this day. Listen, he said that I command you this day. That's a commandment. But we're going to see in a minute. Watch. In that I command you this day to love Yahuwah Eloheka, to walk in his ways, and to guard his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that you may live and multiply. That you may live and multiply. And I want to tell you something, because I remember, I think it was Ahab. he destroyed every male seed that came from his lineage so that his lineage would be cut off. And something that me and my wife recognized is that Yah will also cut off lineages by, and not saying Yah does this, but if he says that lineage will be cut off, it doesn't mean that every member of the of that lineage has to die. What if they become, say for instance, homosexual? And in other words, their bloodline won't continue because, well, they two men can't have a baby. And so we seen that with something that we recognize within one, a branch of our family with some of the bloodline that won't continue because of that exact thing there. And unless they decide to get their life right, which a lot of them have already passed away. And I think it's only one or two left. So it is really getting down to the wire. That it's a possibility that there won't be any more males in that bloodline, because look, he said he told us that he commanded us to love him, to walk in his ways. And remember, Yahushua made it so simple. He said, if you love me, you'll guard my commandment. So what is it? One of his commandments is to love Yahuwah and to walk in his ways and to guard his commandments and his statutes and his judgment, right? His right rulings, his decisions, what he chooses for your life, or what he says that you need to do in your life, and that you may live and multiply, and Yahuwah Eloheka shall bless you in the land whither you go to possess it. I heard a person say, well, if Yahuwah already know the outcome of everything, how is that free will? It's because you make a choice. You choose to walk according to his commandments, his ways, his life, the life. You choose to live good, and have life, or you choose evil. So there's a choice, and there's always been a choice. The choice was right there in the Garden of Eden, right? The tree of knowledge of good and evil, and then you had the tree of life. And they being Eve being seduced, and eyes, having that spell put on her, and her eyes saw that it was good, right? She took of it and ate. And then when it came down to it, and Yahuwah rebuked Adam, he said, because you obeyed, because you shama the voice of your wife, right? And so at many times we're all listening to the wrong voice, and we need to stop and we need to hear his voice. Be still and know that I am Yah. Hear his voice when he speaks to us. When we stop, we listen. Guess what, guys? He's gonna proclaim or basically command what it is that we need to do. And he'll listen. At times, if you don't know how to pray, talk to him. Just talk to him and ask him to reveal what it is, because I know it's a lot of people that's just coming into the walk, or just coming into recognizing Mashiach, Christ, as their Lord and Savior, their Adonai, right? And so we have to sometimes we start out at a stage where I don't understand how to do this. I don't understand how to do that. Just talk to him. Just talk to him, and he'll guide you into all things that you need to do. He'll begin to show you. He'll begin to reveal to you. None of us didn't start out walking. We started out crawling as babes, and we had to drink milk. It's like I said with the grill. The grill being so hot, on fire. You know what I mean? And that's how it is. You start out all hot and on fire, but once the flames die down, you start feeling extinguished. And then you wonder, oh, why am I doing this, and why is this, and I feel like that I'm not doing anything, and I feel like this, and you begin to feel weary. But scripture say, be not weary and well doing. So when you begin to do, you have to show your labor of love. You may have a neighbor, that you may come across. You may have a brother or sister that may be reaching out to you. You never know how Yah is gonna do it. But don't keep beating yourself up and saying, I'm not doing anything. because he said, as you do unto the least of these, you are doing it unto me, my brother. And so we have to realize when he has placed people in our lives and we begin to, help them and do little things, and you just don't recognize how much that pleases Yah, because you're sacrificing time from your day, from your schedule, to help a brother or sister, to show them how to do something that may have not come across it by themselves, right? Because Yah at times wants to use us as the instrument. Think about this. A surgeon, guys, listen, a surgeon can't have surgery without the utensils, the proper utensils. He need the scalpel. He need the little, and say for instance, the heart surgeon. He need the little clamp to open up the chest, right? He needs his scrub techs there to pass on the instrument. He needs the nurse anesthetist to put them to sleep. He needs it's just a whole process. His nurse to assist him to grab things that he needs. And so we don't know what role we play. We might be the utensil. We may be the little piece of the valve that he's placing into the heart to help keep the blood flowing through. We don't know what part we play in that surgery of another person's life that Yah is moving in, but you play a role. And no matter how small the part, guess what? In Yah's eyes, it's a big deal, because he said, as you do it unto the least of these. So the least thing that it may feel like, oh, I'm not doing that. Trust me, in his eyes, you're doing a lot, because you're helping keep one of his people afloat. Because there's people that is in this walk that feel like they're drowning. Why? Because you got preachers placing heavy burdens on them, just like the Pharisees did. You got different ones teaching their own doctrines, and they're conflicted because they don't know what they need to be doing. You got a lot of ministries that ain't even preaching Yahusha. They ain't even telling. Listen, I always try to say this, and this is something that throughout my whole ministry, no matter what I'm teaching, or I'm passing the message along, it's always this: if you have not given your life, confess your sins to Yahushua Mashiach, do it, because it is of the most other importance. Do it because it is what he went to the cross for, so that you can live and have life. Remember this: life is in him, and through him is the way to the Father. There's no other way. There's no other way. I'm be honest with you. I thought I can try to figure it out another way, but the only way I can figure it out is through his living word. Through his living word. It don't matter whether you got a King James version. And listen, I don't agree with the NIV, but if that's what you got to read right now, until you can get more, read his word. And guess what? All the stuff that ain't supposed to be there, he'll reveal it to you. And the things that you need, he's going to give you the substance. It's just like me. I'm a picky eater. I'm gonna make sure though that I get enough substance to get my nutrients. I'm not gonna be that picky to the point where I can't, sit down. I know how to, put it like this: I don't like fat on my meat. I know how to pull that fat off to get to the meat. And so at times you have to know how to eat the food, right? Eat the food, get the substance, the nutrients. Now let's look at something, guys, because he said, I have set before you this day. Right? And then when he go down to verse 17, he'll go that, but if your heart turn away. So there you go, right? There goes the option of making a choice for life or for death, right? For light or for dark, for narrow or for broad. It's up to you. We can't listen. We all have to make our choice. Every man has to work out his own soul salvation with fear and trembling. Look at here. Let's go to the Strongs. I have set before you this day life and good. So let's look. That word life. Chai. can mean greener vegetation, flowing, fresher water, right? What did Yahusha say? He said he would give you living waters where you will thirst no more, right? Reviving. Ain't that what we do every time we come to his word, every time we get in his word? We're being revived. Why? It's because it's the lacha, the bread that he gives us. The bread, the substance of his food. Every man shall live by the word of Yah, not by bread alone, right? And so his word revives us. It gives us the water we need, from that thirst. It gives us the sustenance we need from bread, the bread, right? The bread of life. And look what it says: revival, renewal. And guess what? There's revivals happening all throughout the earth because there's brothers and sisters being awakened to the truth. But guess what it also means, guys? Community, like we are. Community. We help sustain life. And that's why with this whole, whatever you call it, social distancing, that's propaganda, right? That's all just propaganda. Because remember back in the day, we used to say it takes a village to raise a child. Yeah, a community. That's what we were to be, a community. But look, that word life. So let's look at that word death. Death. Mavet. Right? Death by violence as a penalty, state of death, place of death, realm of death, dying, right? Dying, pestilence, ruin. We don't want that. And that's what they feared. That's what everyone feared. But we don't have to have a fear of that anymore. Why? Because Yahushua HaMashiach gave his life so that we can have life, right? He said, unless the seed dies, it won't be able to bring forth anything. And so, the outer part of that seed passes away, but then it begins to germinate. Germination begins to take place and it begins to sprout. And then from there, the pollination and different things begin to take place, and boom, you get more. And so we don't want death, right? The other day we were walking by a tree, and my son saw that all the tree was green except this one branch. And he was like, look at this. And I said, I'm gonna show you something. You see how that broke right there? The nutrients can't flow into it. So everything on here withered and died. And so he went and grabbed the green and flush one, and he said, oh, so these are getting everything that it need and these ain't. I said, yeah. I was about to try to explain to him, this is how it is when you walk in, when you continue to walk in Yah versus living a life that is separate from Yah. And somebody that I know popped out the door and started calling me, and by then, we had started walking on. But yeah, when you go out, and I'm not saying just do this as an experiment. Go and break a limb on the tree, just a little piece of it, and watch how that leaves begin to wither away. And this is why Yahusha said that any tree that brings forth not fruit, or any branch that brings forth not fruit, they prune it and trim it and remove it and cast it in a bundle to throw in the fire, because it is not bringing forth sustenance. It's bringing forth a form of death, right? So let's look. Where is that? Okay, I have set before thee this day life and good. So let's look at that word good. Tob, right? Good, pleasant, agreeable, right? I have placed a covenant which is good before you, which is agreeable, right? Good, right? Kind, benign, good, right? Ethical, welfare, prosperity, in the sense of, that I want to say Jim Staley made it very clear about the Omar, where Yah would give you enough for that day. That's what prosperity, having enough to get you through the day, not enough where oh, I'm taken care of for years on end. No, he wants to. When he would tell them to go out and store manna, right? He would tell them to store enough to supply them for that day, but on the 6th day, get enough to last them for 2 days until the net, until that Sunday or that first day would come, and then they would receive more. So good things, collective. So Tob, right? Good in the widest sense, used likewise as a noun, both in the masculine and feminine, the singular and the plural. So a good or good thing, a good man or woman, the goods of things, right? So that's awesome. That's awesome. But now let's look what he calls evil, right? Because we know Yah doesn't, he detests evil. He hates evil. Ra, right? So look, bad, evil. Guess what? Disagreeable, malignant. Bad, unpleasant, evil, giving pain, unhappiness, misery, evil, displeasing, bad of its kind. And I'm sorry, that's Strong's 8745 when I give you the Strong's for the other three in a second. Evil, hurtful, sad, unhappy. In general, personal thoughts, deeds, action, evil, distress, misery, injury, calamity, right? So all these things point out that it's the opposite of good. The opposite of good. I'm gonna do a couple reference scriptures and then we'll come back tomorrow and continue on in the verse 16, 17, or how y'all decide to do it. Not tomorrow, I'm sorry, Wednesday, because tomorrow is prayer. All right, so he says, see, I have set before you before thee this day life. Life is Strong's H2416, and good is H2896, and death is H4194. And just in case you didn't get evil is H7451. All those are the strong numbers. And I just realized something about this. Is a Bible I received when I became a minister. It's a King James Study Bible, 2nd edition. But I just realized today that I have a Strong's Concordance in the back that gives me all of the, well, you can't see that. Anyways, it gives me all of the strong numbers for every, the words that are used in there. And I found that to be pretty nice, because now I got a couple of other strong messages here. And guys, I thank each and every one of you that message and make comments below. I would really like to get that going a little bit more. I try to go in and throw comments down there. So guys, if you like the studies and different things, I ask that you can comment below, and also when you hear the choo-choo, hit the like button, please. So something that we like to do here is we like to use reference scriptures to touch on some of this stuff. So I want to use a couple of scriptures that I recognized, and one of the ones I want to touch on first is Ruth, because a lot of people overlook the book of Ruth, right? Because man, I like the book of Ruth. It's very nice, the way that Ruth chose to follow Naomi. So watch this now. So Ruth chapter 1 verse 15. And this is after everybody around Naomi passed away, and both of her daughter-in-laws were still there. One daughter-in-law chose to go. I think they both was Moabites, or one was a Moabite and one was something else, Ammon or something like that. And so the other daughter-in-law decided to go back. So listen, this is awesome the way that y'all broke this down. One chose evil while the other chose good. One chose to go back to idolatry while the other chose to walk in the manners and ways and judgments of Yah. Watch this. So Ruth chapter 1, and I'm gonna start from verse 15 and I'm gonna go down to verse 18. And she said, behold, your sister-in-law is gone back unto her people and unto her Elohim. Return you after your sister-in-law. And Ruth said, entreat me not to leave you or to return from following after you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your Elohim, my Elohim. So she, right then and there, she chose, in other words, the red pill. She made that covenant that have the truth, to receive the truth and to walk in the truth, right? Verse 17, where you die, will I die, and there will I be buried. Yahuwah will do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part you and me, right? And then verse 18, it said, when Naomi realized it, right? When she saw that she was steadfastly minded to go with her, then she left speaking unto her. And that's the attitude that we need to have. We need to have that attitude. Why? It's because in Second Corinthians, why did I do that? 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 14. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 14 through 18 says, be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness? What communion has light with darkness? Remember, you have to make a choice. You have to choose the light. You have to choose the dark. Can't be on both. It ain't going to happen like that. And what concord, verse 15, has Yahushua Mashiach with Belial? Or what part has he that believes with an infidel? And what agreement, what covenant, right, has the temple of Yahuwah with idols? Remember, there was a problem with that because they had started setting up idols in the temple, the temple that was built, right? They had started setting up idols there, and they would go in and they would claim to be, they were mixing worship with, supposed to be worshiping Yahuwah, but also worshiping Molech and Astaroth and different ones like that. But y'all said, what covenant? That ain't no covenant that I made. I am the Elohim that you are to serve. You are to love me with all of your heart. If you serve another Elohim, well, you're giving them some of your heart and you're giving me some of your heart. I want all of your heart, right? So he said, what agreement has the temple of Yahuwah with the idols? Now you are the temple of Yahuwah, right? He has set his Ruach to dwell in you. So you become the temple now. For ye are the temple of the living Yah, as Yahuwah has said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. Wherefore come out from among them and be separate, says Yahuwah, and touch not. I'm going to say it one more time. Touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Remember, before they could even appear before Yahuwah, he gave them 3 days to become sanctified while they were in the wilderness, right? To get themselves clean before he even came unto them. So he said, touch not the unclean thing, and then I will receive you. We can't be touching dirty things and then still trying to go before him. Nah. He said, don't touch the unclean thing. Get yourself clean, and I will receive you. And how do you become clean? Through the blood of Yahushua Mashiach, through accepting him as your Adonai and your Savior, as your Christ, as your Mashiach, as the one that is your king. That's how you become clean, through what? His word. Taking a shower every day or a bath, however you want to do it. And then once you come to the recognition, you go and get baptized. But first, all you have to do is confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that Yahushua Mashiach died for you, rose again, and ascended to the Father, and you can receive salvation. And then once you come and you continue to do the walk, he will let you know you become baptized, get clean, right? And that's just the outward appearance, of showing your dying to self, right? Look, in verse 18 say, and he will be your father, and he will be a father unto you, and ye shall be sons and daughters, says Yahuwah Sabaoth, right? Now let's look at something else, because in Matthew 6 and 24, look what Yahushua say. He throw it out there. So you got 4 different witnesses this time instead of 3. I'm gonna throw 4 out there. Look what Yahushua say. 6:24. He said, no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other. Right? Or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve Yah and Mammon. Or you cannot serve Yah and whatever it else that you enjoy or love, right? We know that he was doing that teaching on Mammon there. So now let's look, because it was thrown out there to them. It was thrown out there to them with Joshua, right? Joshua had to lay it out for them on the line, because these people, he saw how they was. And Moses also said, after I'm gone, they're gonna play around, they're gonna go into idolatry, they're gonna live a life accordingly. But this is what Joshua told them. Joshua chapter 14, verses 14 and 15. He said, now therefore fear Yahuwah and serve him in sincerity and truth. Right? Serve him in sincerity and truth. Being sincere to yourself. Being sincere before him. Right? In all honesty. And that's what I was saying yesterday. We have to be honest with ourselves, or we won't be able to be honest with others. So, in sincerity and in truth, and put away the Elohim which your father served on the other side of the flood, and in Mitzrayim, and serve ye Yahuwah. And if it seem evil unto you to serve Yahuwah, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the Elohim which your father served that were on the other side of the flood, or the Elohim of the Amorim, in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahuwah. We will serve Yahuwah. So, guys, there's been a choice that Yahuwah has thrown before us. And I think we'll be talking about this kind of the rest of the week as we talk about returning to Yah. When we return to him, we have to leave all that other stuff behind. We have to leave all that other stuff behind. Listen, for those of you that just coming into the faith that don't really understand, it's a process. So what I'm saying is, as Yah begins to work in you and clean you out, listen, when you clean up a house, sometimes it takes a couple days if you don't hoard it stuff, right? If you don't just have stuff stacked up everywhere, you ain't gonna clean that house in one day, or you're gonna be tired to death if you do. But it takes time. It's a process. It's a process. Sometimes when I used to clean buildings and things, we didn't do every building on that strip in one night. We did two a piece. Everybody did two a piece. We might have had 20 buildings on that strip, and we only did, well, I don't know how many. I work for somebody, so I don't know how many buildings he had. I will say this: we will take different places. At one time, all of us would go in the same place, and then we would clean another one the next night, and another one another night. So depending on how many on that contract, that's what I say, because I don't know how many he had on the strip. But anyways, depending on his contract, on what nights he would go in and clean, we would all take a different building. But after we all learned the building, well, we would all go in the same building after we learned the building, and he would place one person here, one person there, one person there. And so it becomes a thing, where we all have to learn that when it comes to coming to Messiah, we think that, let me make screen big. We think that as soon as we come in, everything's just gonna boom. No, there's a process. Like it took, I want to say 2 years almost before I stopped smoking cigarettes. Almost 2 years before I stopped smoking cigarettes. About 1 year, maybe 2 years for weed, and I want to say about 2.5 to 3 years before I stopped completely drinking. And honestly, in all that time, we would sit down as a family and do, scripture readings, and I would, reveal, what the words meant and different things like that. But I honestly just getting on and in front of people and started teaching. It took me a while when I first, before I even stepped up to do that. And when it was presented to me, I didn't want to do it then. But I had to ask Abba what it was that he wanted me to do. And when he told me it was time, that's when I did it. And so, guys, there's a process of things that we have to know, when we're in this walk. And a lot of people, aren't teaching the babes what they need to do. And so you have a lot of them just coming in and jumping straight into teaching. A lot of them jumping in and thinking that they could just go in and go out and start ministering the gospel to people and don't even have a full understanding on it to them for themselves yet. And so what happens is when people challenge their belief and you know, they may bring something that just doesn't, they don't know yet. You know, they may question something, you know, well, if y'all gave us free will, why is it that, you know, and he already know everything, why is it that babies die, you know? And that at times it could be a tricky one, but a lot of people don't recognize the answer is, yeah, he did give us free will. And it's humans that is just like with a gun. It ain't the gun that's killing people, it's humans. But you know, if people that like to argue and debate, you know, you sometimes have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to know when to run. And sometimes you just don't answer the question right then and there if you don't know it. And then sometimes you just, my point in what I'm saying is a lot of us come into it and then we're basically give up because we think that y'all ain't moving because, oh, I went to witness this person and they kind of gave me you know, they made you think about something and now you questioning all the things with y'all. So that's what the enemy wants. He wants you to be questioning on that. And so that's why we have to take our time, get in our word, study, pray, you know, and have a strong group of brothers and sisters that you could rely on, that you could talk to, you know. So, guys, I thank y'all for joining up with us. I know I went a little bit longer tonight. Most of y'all probably enjoy that. I truly am blessed by sitting here and doing these studies. And I just thank each and every one of you that do show up. And remember, guys, I love you. Yahoo loves you. Don't forget to say thank you, Yahusha. Love you guys. We'll be talking soon. Later. House of Rest.